Well, hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Crystalline. We were just about to start our journey to the missing city. So, we nod at Amelia here. That was her name, right, Amelia? It was probably Amelia.
Then let us depart.
Yes! Let us depart indeed, Amelia, whose name I know. She leads the way out of the inn and back into the quiet city. Remnants of last night's festival litter the ground in a series of petals and general debris. The cleanup detail is hard at work. They wear thick gloves as they half-heartedly remove the decorations and the debris. I wonder how long they've been working on this. The festivities continued even after I threw in my hat and went to bed. Leanna and I share a glance, and she smiles. We follow Amelia through the twists and turns of the city. Where exactly are we going now?
To the Crystal Rail Station.
Crystal Rail? Sounds like it might be a train. Leanna speaks up before I even ask.
Where are we taking the Crystal Rail to?
Bazada.
She looks up in surprise.
Ember Mist is in Bazada?
They say you can find anything there.
She shoots Zack a look, which he returns with his usual stony gaze. What's so surprising about Bazada?
It's just closer than I expected.
No, Ember Mist is not within Bazada, but Bazada is the closest station to the location of Ember Mist.
Leanna still seems skeptical, but doesn't push it. I guess we'll find out whether or not Amelia is right. We continue the rest of the way in silence. After a few minutes, we arrive at the station. The setup is a simpler version of our train stations back home. The ticket booth is right across from the entrance. While they sort out retrieving tickets, I look around. Vendors selling food and trinkets line the perimeter of the enclosed space. The building is mostly empty at this time of
We
morning.
must hurry if we wish to catch the next Crystal Rail. It is nearing the platform.
Once we get our tickets, we rush down a back hallway which opens up to the platform. Arriving onto the platform is a sleek bullet train, porcelain white with windows dotting the sides. My jaw drops as I watch it hover over the tracks. A pair of long crystal rows run along the bottom of the train with identical crystal rows lining the track. This is so cool. I feel almost giddy as we line up to board. I can't believe I'm about to ride on a hover train. Leanna cocks her head to the side.
Is this not something you're used to?
Not exactly. We have trains too, but they mostly run on diesel and electricity now. The original models were powered by steam. Leanna's eyes widen.
That must be some powerful magic.
That's not magic, that's just boiling water. This is magic. Leanna smiles. The Pongo eyes the crystals on the train, his mouth open in anticipation. Leanna notices and snatches him up. He wriggles at first, but after she gives him a few pats on the head, he calms down and grins at her. We are about to board the train when the attendant stops us.
Sorry, Pongas are not allowed due to equipment which are sensitive to energy absorption.
Oh,
Leanna looks sadly at the blue guy in her
I'm
arms.
sorry, my friend, but I think this is where we say goodbye.
Aww, he blinks back at her in confusion, a worried smile on his face. Leanna's lip trembles.
I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, Leanna, chill. She gives him a final hug and sets him down on the ground. Then, with glassy eyes full of tears, she rushes into the train. The Pongo blinks. Amelia cocks her head to the side and looks at it. The Pongo mimics her.
I have not known you long, but I will be saddened to see you go.
She nods and then hops onto the train. Zack looks at the Pongo and instinctively his hand protects his guns.
Try not to eat anyone else's weapon.
Alright. The Pongo blinks at Zack's retreating form. Finally, it's my turn. I'll miss you. See, guys, I can be nice. I can be nice. People say I can't be nice, but I can totally be nice. He blinks and grins. I didn't expect this to be so difficult. He cocks his head to the side and tries again. I'm sorry, little buddy, but this is as far as we can go together. He tries to hop up onto my shoulder, but as he's done so many times in the past, but I don't let him. I'm sorry, but you have to stay here. I quickly turn away and head onto the train. While other people board the train, I join the rest of my group. Leanna tries to control her sniffles while Amelia looks down at her feet. Zack acts as casual as always, but the nod he gives me feels lackluster. We're all feeling the loss of the Pongo. He was my first friend when I came to this world. When I hated him, when he was trying to eat me, yeah. After we've had a moment to compose ourselves, we search for our train cabin. We pass through a few cars before we finally find our cabin towards the end of the train. Amelia slides open the door, then shuts it immediately.
Impossible.
Impossible! What's going on? She opens the door again and we all peer inside. Inside the cozy cabin are plush seats, a rack above the seats to hold any luggage, and a rectangular table in the center. There is also a Pongo bouncing happily on the seats.
Pongo!
Leanna squeals excitedly and scoops him back up into a big hug. We all file into the cabin after her and shut the door before anyone notices the Pongo. When Leanna notices our stares, she clears her throat and sets him back down.
But how did you get in here?
Seriously, weren't you just outside a second ago? How'd you get in here and find our cabin before we did?
Impossible.
I think the Pongo broke Amelia. Zack, as unfazed as always, plops down into one of the seats and leans back.
Some things just can't be explained.
With how often the Pongo seems to disappear and reappear unexpectedly, you'd think we'd be used to it by now. I take a seat as well and the Pongo hops into my lap. Leanna pouts as the Pongo moves away from her. Amelia seems to have recomposed herself and also takes a seat. Not much later, I feel the jerk of the train departing and hear the calming hum of the engine. Both Leanna and Amelia stare out of the window. Zack has his head down and his arms crossed. I think he may be asleep, but it's hard to tell. Remembering how I found him at the campsite, I can only assume this guy can literally sleep anywhere. My eyes feel droopy too. I really went all out last night and did not get enough sleep. I doubt anyone will mind if I just caught up on a few of those hours I lost. When I awaken, everyone else is awake too and looking more bored than ever. Only the Pongo snoozes in my lap. How long was I asleep for? Leanna glances at me.
Just a few hours.
Are we almost there?
No. We will not arrive before tomorrow.
Oh, jeez. Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeesh, what am I going to do with all this spare time? I automatically reach into my pocket to pull out my phone, forgetting for a second that it doesn't work. Shoot. But then my hand closes in on something equally good. I pull out my deck of cards and lay them out on the table. Leanna cranes her neck to see better.
What do you have there?
My cards. I cut the deck and shuffle them. Want to play something? There's enough people that we can play cheat. What the hell is cheat?
How do you play that?
That's a very good question. Thank you, Leanna. It's easy. Each round you will put a card from your hand face down on the center of the table and say what card it is. Like this. I put one down as an example. 1 king. Then everyone else at the table can decide whether or not I'm telling the truth. If you think I'm lying, you call out cheater, and I'll have to reveal the card. If I was lying, then I take all the cards in the pile. If I was telling the truth, then whoever accused me takes all the cards in the pile and the next person starts a new round. You win by having no cards in your hand.
Sounds like fun. I'll play.
Amelia looks thoughtful.
Although I have not partaken in this game before, this sounds like it would be a stimulating challenge.
I glance at Zack. You in? He shakes his head.
I'll pass.
Leanna frowns.
Why not? I know that mercenaries love card games. And it's not like there's much else to do while we wait.
It's just not my type of game.
Let's up the stakes here. As a mercenary, I think I know it can spark his interest. What if we play for money? Zack sits up and looks at me.
I thought you didn't have money.
I do have money. I fish in my pockets and drop the loose change I have on the table. It's just not usable here. Amelia leans in close and peers at the money. Even Leanna takes an interested glance.
I fail to recognize this type of currency.
Well, I'm not exactly from Asaria. Amelia stares intently at me again. After a long pause, she looks back at the coins.
I see.
I point out the different types of change I have. Make sure you get the pennies, they're the most
Are
valuable.
these not made from copper?
Yes.
And the nickel would be made from nickel.
Also yes. Well, not really anymore. I think it's been a long time since nickels were actually made out of nickel, but...
Then suffice it as to say, should not the nickel be more valuable than the penny?
Wow, Amelia. Chill. Damn, she got me. Zack leans back into his seat.
If it's not money I can use, then I'm not interested.
Zack,
I will pay you for his coins.
Zack sits back up.
Go on.
For any coin of his you receive, I will trade you one of our coins.
Aww.
Amelia, you really don't have to do that.
I know.
Leanna looks uneasily between Zack and Amelia.
All right. Deal.
As Zack settles in, I deal out the cards. Zack frowns when he looks at his hand.
These cards are strange.
Like I said, I'm not from Asaria. I give a brief rundown of the suites and face cards. When I look up from my hand, I see Amelia staring at me. This is getting a little uncomfortable. Let's start the bet. We all throw our coins on the table. I'll go first. I drop a card face down on the table. 110. Silence. No one reacts. Okay, Leanna, it's your go.
Okay.
She slides a card onto the table, her face completely blank.
1, 2.
Pass. I bet she's telling the truth. Nobody else calls her out either. Amelia's go. Her face even more stoic than Leanna's, Amelia places a card onto the table.
1 queen.
I'll pass. I don't think she's cheating. Again, neither does anyone else. Maybe they aren't quite understanding how to play. Although I guess it is just the first round. Finally, it's Zack's go. In usual Zack fashion, he stoically slips a card down.
2 8s.
Cheater.
Whoa, she was fast! Without breaking from his poker face, he flips over the card to reveal different cards than 8s. Silently, he collects the pile. We count how many cards each person has in their hands, and whoever has the lowest number so far collects the first round of bets. Then we throw in our next round of bets. Okay, me again. Better stick with truth. Keeping my face as still and blank as possible, I slip 2 cards onto the table. 2 3s. Nobody calls me out. So far, so good. Leanna looks slightly worried at her hand, then smooths her face.
2 aces.
See? Things are going good with Leanna. I don't want to call her out when she's blatantly cheating here. Pass. I bet she was faking her worry and is telling the truth. Better not risk it.
Cheater.
Leanna grins as she flips over 2 aces. Zack wordlessly collects the cards. Okay. Leanna is a little bit ruthless at this one. Okay. I see how you are. I see how you're doing, girl. Good thing I stayed silent. Amelia puts down her
2
cards.
7s.
Her poker face is just too good. I can't tell if she's cheating or not, so I'm going to stay silent. Nobody else calls her out. Without delay, Zack lays down his cards.
2 5s.
Before anyone else has a chance to react, Amelia calls out.
Cheater.
Zack grumbles under his breath as he collects the pile. Amelia looks smug at Zack's disgruntledness. The bet for this round goes to the winner, and we start a new pot. Back to me again. You know what? I'm gonna cheat this round. Time to trick everyone. Poker face. I drain all emotion from my face and place a card onto the table. 1 king.
Cheater.
Wow, Amelia! I thought I had everyone fooled. Amelia's pretty good at this. I flip over my card to reveal a 2 of hearts. Leanna lays down her card, looking confident.
1 king.
I'm accusing her. Cheater!
Nope.
Wow! Shoot! I should have seen that coming. I collect the card. Amelia wears the same stony face and slips down a card.
1 jack.
Pass. Again, I can't get a read on her, so I fall back on keeping quiet. Zack plays his card.
1-6.
Again, Amelia is faster than anyone else.
Cheater.
She's like a human lie detector. What is this? Zack growls in frustration.
How do you know every single time?
Maybe if you didn't cheat every single round? How about that? Amelia just stares at him with her same blank stare, which frustrates Zack even more.
This is the dumbest game ever.
He throws his cards down on the table and knocks over the coins before crossing his arms. Leanna jumps away from the table as Zack hits it, her eyes wide. I'm a little taken aback and jolt back, which wakes the Pongo. Only Amelia remains unfazed. So, should we keep playing?
Of course.
Zack picks his cards back up. Leanna and I glance at each other and burst out laughing. At first, Amelia looks at us in bewilderment, but our laughter is so contagious that she breaks a
Are
smile.
we playing or what?
We resume the game with smiles all around. Yes, I can see Zack's smile there. The longer we played, the more into the game everyone became. Needless to say, Amelia correctly guessed Zack's cheats every single time, much to Zack's ever-growing frustration. In the end, I won the game with the first to run out of cards. When we were tired of cheat, I taught them a couple of other games. It was late into the night when we all decided to turn in and go to sleep. The sun shines brightly through the window and splashes on my face, forcing me awake. Leanna and Amelia are both already awake, but Zack still has his head down as if he's still asleep. I look outside and squint at the sky. What time is it?
It's already past noon. We slept through the entire morning.
We did? Leanna giggles at my alarm.
Normally that would be a bad thing, but in this case it's okay. We're almost at Bazada.
I nod. Zack gradually wakes up and we all make sure we have all of our things. After another hour or two, the train stops and announces our arrival to Bazada. The sun hangs high in the sky as one by one we step off the train. As soon as I set foot in the city, I'm assaulted by the sound of voices. Makeshift stalls line the sides of roads and alleys as people pack the streets. Traders entice onlookers to view their wares, and customers haggle in heated shouting matches. Are we going to have to travel through that? I blanch at the thought of getting trapped amidst the sea of people, like sardines in a can.
We have arrived in Basada.
This is where we'll find Ember Mist?
No, as I said, it is the closest city to Ember Mist.
Considering the bustle of this place, I find it a little hard to believe that the hidden city is so close. No wonder Leanna seemed so surprised. Amelia seems to read my thoughts.
Of course, close is a relative term. We must first traverse some rough terrain and pass through the forest before we find Ember Mist.
She points towards the south where I can make out the tips of treetops, and then she glances up at the sky.
Considering only a few hours remain before nightfall, it may be in our best interest to spend the evening here in the city and depart in the morning.
Leanna nods.
Good thinking. This marketplace is so huge. People say you can literally buy your heart's desires here.
Is there something you're thinking of buying?
Nothing in particular, but I would like to check out the stalls. Traders from all over the world gather here to sell their wares.
I glance down at my feet and watch the Pongo wiggle excitedly. He casts hungry looks into the crowd. Is there a lot of magic here? I haven't seen this guy so excited since he first tried to eat me. Amelia bends down and scrutinizes him. She pokes him with a finger and the Pongo giggles.
I'm going to the inn. I'll meet up with you later.
Before any of us can react, Zack slips into the crowd. Should we go after him? Amelia doesn't even blink at Zack's departure. She's too preoccupied with the Pongo. Liana shakes her head.
No, but since Zach left, I'm going to go too. Should we meet back up at the inn?
Sure. She nods and heads into the crowd. Since everyone else seems to know what they want to do, what do I want to do? Let's go shopping with Liana. I head in the same direction I think Liana's gone and duck into the crowd, trying not to bump into too many people as I explore the marketplace. I've never seen a place this crowded before. It doesn't feel like I'm walking so much as being pushed by everyone. Despite all the people, I'm fascinated by the market stalls. Merchants sell all different types of merchandise, ranging from clay pottery to magic amulets. As I'm being pulled through the crowd, I see a glimpse of blonde hair and white armor. That must be Liana. I wade through the crowd and see Liana frozen in place. Hey, Liana. She blinks at me.
Hey!
How's the marketplace so far?
Really interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff I haven't seen before.
She seems distracted.
Do you smell that?
I breathe in deeply. Smells silent but deadly, shut up. Smells fruity and sweet. An overwhelmingly sweet smell wafts by on the breeze. There's really no way I couldn't.
I think it's coming from that stall over there. Come on!
She darts back into the crowd and I quickly follow until we stop at a stall filled with delicate glass bottles. Is this perfume?
Yes, welcome, welcome.
Oh my gosh. A tanned man in silken robes ushers us closer to the stall. He selects a glass bottle filled with a pale pink liquid and offers it to
A
Liana.
noble scent to match such a noble woman.
Liana blushes and delicately sniffs the bottle. Her eyes widen in recognition.
Is that extract of spirit orchid?
The man grins broadly and clasps his hands together.
Yes, yes, very rare, from the far celestial mountains.
I never expected to find this perfume here.
What is it? Liana offers me the bottle and I take a tentative whiff. It smells fruity, like a cross between an apple and a pear. This is a flower? She
The
nods.
spirit orchid. It only grows in the deep forest of the celestial mountain range.
Why is it called the spirit orchid?
The roots are a very pale white. And when it grows, it almost looks like it's floating midair, like a spirit.
That's kinda neat. She nods absent-mindedly and continues to hold the bottle. Do you want to get it? Liana quickly shakes her head.
Oh, sorry. It just reminds me of home. My grandmother used to wear this perfume whenever she left the house. When I was little, that meant taking me down to the market.
She smiles fondly at the memory, but her eyes hold a hint of sadness.
I loved wandering the shops and stalls. It didn't matter if I had nothing to buy. It was a chance to leave the house and be like everyone else.
It sounds like you didn't get to go out much.
It was complicated.
She doesn't offer up any more information and returns the bottle to a blank spot on the shelf. Although she's been very helpful in helping me understand this world, Liana doesn't talk about her past much. I glance at her again. She looks pensively at the bottle, a small crease in her brow. Suddenly, a new scent cuts through the floral perfumes. It smells of cinnamon and spice. Cookies! Hey, Liana, do you smell that? She jolts out of her thoughts and blinks.
Smell what?
I think it's coming from this stall over there. I grin, and just as she did before, I dart back into the street.
Hey, wait!
We weave through the people before stopping in front of a stall filled with an assortment of baked goods. I breathe in the heavenly sweetness of sugar and sigh contentedly. Liana closes her eyes and inhales.
It smells so delicious!
Yes. I browse the array of cookies and tiny cakes. Liana gasps.
They have cinnamon parfaits. I love those.
Yes. What are those?
They're cinnamon and vanilla custard layers with apricots.
Wait, what? Okay, huh.
What do you think looks good?
Oh, obviously the cupcakes. Come on now. I can't say no to cake, especially when they're bite-sized for portion control.
That's basically healthy, right?
Of course! Exactly. Finally someone else who understands. Liana grins. I fish in my pocket for my winnings from yesterday. Today's treats are on me. Liana looks amused.
Are you sure you want to use your life savings?
I chuckle. Don't worry, you've been very generous towards me ever since Meadow Hill. This is the least I can do to repay you. I know it's not much, but please consider this as a token of my appreciation. Leanna smiles bashfully.
Thank you.
I grin, then pay for a cinnamon parfait for Leanna and a dessert for myself. Cheers! I hold up my dessert and take a bite. As the sweetness melts on my tongue, I let out a contented sigh. This is even better than I imagined. Leanna giggles and lets out an equally happy sigh as she bites into her cinnamon parfait.
This is why I love markets.
I nod in agreement as we return to the street. One of the guards in the marketplace notices Leanna's Mage Guild emblem and pulls her over to talk.
Sorry, I need to take this.
Since this looks like official business, I better leave them be. We can catch up later then? She smiles.
Okay.
Alright, let's see what Amelia's up to. I decide to seek out Amelia. I stand by awkwardly while Amelia mutters to herself. She seems to be in the middle of something and doesn't notice my presence.
Male. Adolescent. Of the cerulean variant.
She holds out her bracelet. The Pongo blinks at it, then looks back at her. Amelia cocks her head to the side as she observes him. With Amelia's attention still on him, the Pongo scoots closer to the bracelet and looks at her again.
Go on.
He cautiously sniffs at the bracelet, then sticks a tongue out to lick the air. Afterwards, he grins widely at Amelia.
Interesting. Normally, a cerulean Pongo will leave out even the slightest trace of magical residue.
Amelia doesn't have a chance to finish as the Pongo springs into her arms. She fumbles the catch and pulls the Pongo close to her chest to stabilize him.
What do you think you're...
Her voice trails off as she looks down at the still smiling Pongo. Amelia blinks as the caution melts away from her face. The corners of her mouth curl up in a smile and she squeezes the Pongo in a cuddle. The Pongo wheezes as he's squished against her chest. Should I join in? Aw, so cute. Aw, you do like him. Amelia gasps and drops her arms, letting the Pongo tumble to the ground. Aw.
I was merely conducting analysis.
Of course. The Pongo hops back into her arms and snuggles against her. Amelia's cheeks tinge pink. She clears her throat.
Regardless, I am going to the apothecary.
Apothecary? Can't we just heal with magic?
Yes, there are mages who specialize in healing magic, but they use earth magic which neither Leanna nor I possess. As such, you will need to purchase healing items to treat a wound.
Makes sense to me. Would you like me to go with you?
No, it will be faster if I go alone.
Before I even have a chance to react, she turns on her heel and walks away. As she goes, the Pongo pops his face over her shoulder and gazes longingly at me. A single tear rolls down his cheek. Pongo! I reach out for him as the distance between us grows. Wait a minute. Why is he making that face? He could literally leave at any time and just come back to me. Come back! He turns around and disappears from my view. That sneaky little Pongo. Let's check on Zach. I'm sure this'll be wonderful. Zach went straight to the inn in Illumia, too. What's going on at all these inns? I'd like to know, too. I rush into the street and look for any sign of the inn. Luckily, I manage to spot Zach in the crowd before he disappears back into the sea of people. Shoving my way down the street, I finally locate the inn just in time to see Zach. He stands in front of a large notice board filled with pinned papers. As I get closer, I can make out some of the flyers, which include a portrait of a scowling face and a large monetary number. Is Zach checking out wanted posters? Maybe he's looking for a specific bounty, or maybe he is the bounty. You know, whichever. I'm about to call out to him when a young blonde wearing a skin-tight suit of armor flounces over to him. Twirling a lock of hair between her fingers, she seems to study the board. Every so often, she shoots pointed glances over to Zach, hoping to catch his eyes. But his attention never wavers from the board. Finally, she speaks.
Do you have a bounty on your heart?
Oh. That's rough there. That's a rough one. That's gonna be tough to bounce back from, lady. For the first time since her arrival, Zack looks at her. She grins devilishly.
Because I'm looking to collect.
Oh. He refocuses on the board and she frowns. For her second attempt, she bumps up her ample chest and touches his arm as she speaks in a sickly sweet voice.
So, are you a bounty hunter?
Zack shrugs her arm off of him.
No.
Then you must be a mercenary.
He doesn't answer. She seems to take that as a sign of encouragement and her sultry smile returns. She leans in close to him and runs her fingers up his arm.
I've got a mission that I could use some help with. Are you for hire?
Again, Zack brushes her hands off of him and steps away from her.
No.
She seems a little taken aback, but quickly recovers and slides closer to him.
Are you sure there isn't something I could offer to change your mind?
Oh my gosh, girl, take a hint.
No.
She sighs before plastering that same smile and lets out a small laugh.
Geez, you're kind of dense. I was hoping to spend some intimate time with you. So, what do you say?
No thanks. But if I'm ever in need of your services, then I'll go find you at the brothel.
Zack is just a stone-cold killer here. This poor woman just got murdered out here on the streets. The woman's eyes grow wide like saucers. With a sharp huff, she tries to slap Zack, who sidesteps out of the way. She lets out another huff before storming off. Watch her leave, or I may be interested in said services. There are so many options to be a complete creep in this game. Let's just watch her leave. I hustle out of her way as she stomps towards the exit. Whoa! She did not look happy for some mysterious reason. Well, that was weird. I go stand beside Zack. What was that about? He shrugs.
Who cares?
Zack is friggin' ruthless, I love it. I take a look at the wanted posters on the board. Most of these faces look like the generic weathered and scarred bandits I imagined. Huh. Is this what you had to take care of in Illumia? Zack fixes his expressionless eyes on me. When we first reached Illumia, the first thing you did was find the inn. And then when we came here, you did the exact same thing. He relaxes slightly and nods.
Just staying up to date on the news.
Sounds like the life of a mercenary is pretty interesting.
Something like that.
Excuse me, are you a mercenary?
Oh no. As one, Zack and I turn to face another scantily dressed woman. This one has fiery red hair and a mischievous glint in her eye. Zack narrows his eyes.
Yes?
Are you sure you're not a rogue? Because you've just stolen my heart.
Oh. Zack sighs and face palms. I have a bad feeling about this. Zack ends up shaking her off and searches for the innkeeper to buy a drink. I'm ready for a little bit of me time. I head into the crowds and appreciate all the marketplace has to offer. After exploring the city, I meet up with the rest of the group back at the inn. Tensions are high as we eat in silence. I think everyone is a mixture of weariness and anxiety for the next leg of our journey. Even the Pongo is strangely silent and obedient. Once we finish eating, we head upstairs to find our rooms. Upon finding her room, Leanna suddenly perks up.
Oh, Amelia, you and I will be sharing a room tonight.
Amelia speaks dismissively.
Naturally. That would be more appropriate than the alternative.
She pauses, then looks at Leanna with interest.
Are you insinuating that you would rather share a bedroom with them?
Amelia points to Zack and me.
What? No! Of course not!
Oh, my mistake. Of course you could not have met both of them. There aren't nearly enough beds.
Wow, Amelia. Wow. Get your sassy teenage ass out of here.
You must have meant him.
Amelia points to me. Leanna's face turns pink and she shakes her head.
Amelia! That's not true!
If that is false, then why is your face red?
The point is, I'd obviously rather share a room with you.
Amelia blinks.
If that is the case, then why even bring it up?
Because I'm excited. It'll be nice to have some girl time.
Amelia studies Leanna, then nods.
I concur. Sharing a room has proven to strengthen bonds amidst peers and foster camaraderie.
You mean make friends?
Precisely.
Leanna grins and Amelia smiles back.
Oi?
We all glance down at the Pongo by our feet. Is it my imagination, or is he trying to ask us which room is he going to sleep in tonight? Amelia snatches him up in her arms.
Pongo needs to spend the night with us tonight. We need him for science.
As Amelia slips into their bedroom, Leanna nods rapidly.
Yes, for science.
Then follows Amelia into the room and slams the door shut. There's a moment of silence as Zach and I stare at the closed door.
Is it just me, or did that seem unusually suspicious to you?
Use me instead, jeez. Is the Pongo really that special? Oh my god, Minnie, chill! Chill, dog. Chill! Sorry about that. Is the Pongo really that special? For some reason, I feel like we missed out by not securing the Pongo. Zach shakes his head.
More like we dodged a blast.
Don't you mean bullet?
Bullet?
I guess idioms don't translate well here. Never mind. Still baffled by what happened, Zach and I enter our room and get ready for bed. Although the train was more comfortable than I expected, it cannot compare to a real bed. As I snuggle into the blankets, I soon drift into a restful slumber. Ah. Zach and I awaken at dawn and silently go about preparing for the day. Okay, guys. We are going to call this one here. We've gone through a good amount of distance here. We got on the train. We got to a new town. We explored the marketplace. We finally bought Leanna something instead of just basically using her as our sugar mama the whole time. I'd say this was a successful venture here. Alright? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys all next time. Peace out, guys.